Alright, welcome back. Today I'm going to tie the polar shrimp. It's a fairly easy pattern. What I've got here is a size 4 low boy salmon hook. I'm going to start my thread up on the return and just come down past the return. First I'm going to grab my rib, which is a silver tinsel and small. You can use wire too if you got it in wire or want to use wire. I'm just going to drop that down and around, get it on the underside, and we're going to come back to about the barb, maybe not quite the barb. Next we're going to put in a little tail, so we're just going to get some red hackle fibers, a fair amount here, just going to line those up. That's pretty good. And you want, the gap, or maybe just a little bit more than the gap. Something about like that will work. It's looking pretty good. Next I want to add some orange chenille. If you don't have orange chenille, you can use orange dubbing. Alright, tie all this in coming forward at one time. You can travel up and down if you need to, if you don't like tying it all in at once. That'll work too. And we're going to use the chenille as we come up. This one's been sitting on the card for a while, so it doesn't want to sit quite right. The only other ones I have are fluorescent, and they didn't look quite right, I didn't think. And we'll come up, walk that up one more turn. That's pretty good. Now we can counter rib this guy coming forward. And the usual 4 to 5 turns is really what you're looking for here. Just doesn't want to sit quite right there. And we'll fold that over and trim it out. Fairly simple pattern to get into as far as salmon flies are concerned. Next we need the collar, so again we're going to go back to a red hackle, and I'm going to tie this in soft hackle style. Draw everything to the back. Fold it over. Find that tip. And we'll just trim it out. Now we're going to kind of double this over if we can. And but somewhere between 2 and 4 turns is all you really need. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to pull this down underneath and get it all underneath as much as possible. There we go. Did want to catch. This thread's might be just a tad small for that stem, but that's all right. I'm going to kind of pinch down on it and wiggle it around. Draw it underneath. You can lick your fingers if you need to. And then what we can do to keep it down underneath is kind of collect it. You just jump your thread back onto it a little bit. to help keep it underneath. That's pretty good. Next we need the wing. I almost forgot the wing here. I meant to pull it out. We're just going to use some calf tail. You want to make sure you get a nice little chunk and stack it and clean it. Normally I do this before we get started. But since I don't always do this part on camera, this way you can kind of see the process if you're new to tying some of this stuff. So we just need something that's long enough. This stuff here on the end is going to be a little bit short. So we may have to get up further towards the tail where we get a little bit longer fiber. Or the tip of the tail, I should say. Yeah, that'll work. And I try to go about 25% more than I know I'm going to need. But when you pinch the tips and everything, well, you're going to get all this stuff that comes out. And so you end up losing quite a bit. And once we get all that out, we'll run a comb through it. Every once in a while you can get a calf tail that's in really good condition. And the hairs are really nice and straight. And it doesn't require much stacking. I've only ever seen one. So it's kind of like winning the lottery. Okay. And we want the wing to come out at the tip or close to the tip of the tail. Come out just a little bit more. Get rid of some of these funky hairs. Alright, that's pretty good. Just going to lay this right on top. Do an elevated pin trap, and then I can just drop it down and seat it where I want it. Right into that groove that we have. And tighten that down real good. Just going to bend all this hair to the back and cut it so that it trims at an angle as best as possible. Sometimes it's a little difficult. Before I go any further, I'm going to add a drop of glue right here. Get it to all soak in on the underneath, or underneath the thread base. On the underneath. Yeah, you know, I forgot a few words there. And now we can just take our thread and build a little head. And of course you can add some fingernail polish or lacquer if you like going old school, or just leave it, or UV, or whatever you like. I'll just go ahead and build this head and do a little UV on camera too, since this fly doesn't take very long to tie. If you're not used to using UV. Definitely kind of an older style pattern, but those old ones still work. Alright, so now we'll get some Solarez. I'm just going to start right on the top and start working it around. Oops, a little too much came out there. That's right, we'll take some off here in just a second. Actually, it turned out not too bad. We can still push this around a little bit. Got some room underneath. That's why I don't do this part on camera very often, because it just chews up extra time. So I try to throw it in every once in a while for someone that may not be familiar with some of the stuff we use as tires. Okay. And a few more blasts. And we should be good to go. Make sure you don't look into that UV light. Really damage your eyes. So there you go. A polar shrimp. Fairly easy to do with, especially if you have limited materials and you're wanting to get into salmon flies. If you liked the video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, everybody, happy tying. Take care, and we'll see you next time.